If your earring falls down the drain, you can unscrew the P-trap and pour it out in a bowl. With any luck, it'll come right out. There it is. Now if you can't access the P-trap, you can make one of these contraptions. It's made out of 16 gauge steel wire, and you can get 100 feet for about 10 bucks. And a quick shout out to Omar for giving me the idea for this video. Now every drain has a P-trap. Here you might recognize the one from the sink. And as long as you don't have too much force behind the water being flushed down, you can find your piece of jewelry down at the bottom. Your tub and shower is just the same. It has a set of pipes connected to the drain and the vent, and so anything that falls down has a chance of being found in the pipe that connects the drain to the vent, or in the P-trap. So I took a small earring, and I let it fall down the drain, and then I let all the water from the tub drain behind it. When I unscrewed the drain stop and had a look with an inspection camera, it was nowhere to be found. First I checked that section of pipe between the drain and the vent, nothing. So I unscrewed the vent cap and took a peek at the P-trap, and I found nothing there too. So I thought maybe the earring was just a little too light, so I got a bigger earring, dropped it down the drain, and I thought maybe I could see it when I unplugged the drain go through the pipe. That's when I realized how much force is coming down behind all that water. I took a third earring and I tried to wash it down with some water going down the drain. And when I had a look with the camera, it was still in the pipe. So if your earring is like this, just pull it back with the hook and fish it out. That's the best case scenario. But if you don't find it there is a chance that it's in the P-trap, just like you see here. Now let's get to work on this little contraption. I grabbed a spool of this wire. It's probably like 100 feet or so, but it cost me 10 bucks, and this is all you need to make your retrieving tool. Alright, now I'm just going to open up my lathe chuck, close it down, and then I'm going to put this rod right in there to go with it. You want to be super careful with this, especially once you get towards the end. The wire is going to want to stay straight, and if you're holding it in your hand, it's going to pull a sharp piece of wire through your palm, and you don't want to do that. So I'm going to put some gloves on, and I'm also going to do this very slowly. I'm going to reset my rod. There we go. Here I'm just going to pull this through. I'm going to snip this on this side. Now this machine has a hole at the other end, back here, so I can make the coil as long as I want. Within reason, of course. That's not what we want. So when this happens, we're just going to back it up and try to undo this portion by hand. Now we're going to keep on doing this until our coil is about 15 inches long. Now I'm going to take the remaining coils that I have and I'm going to set it up to make the grabber and then also the collar. And the trick is you want to use a nice straight piece of wire. And so to do that, I'm going to chuck the end of the wire into my drill. And then I'm going to spin it straight. And you'll see as I put more turns into this, the more straight it'll get. Now keep in mind that this does make the wire brittle, and so you don't want to overdo it because then your wire is more prone to breaking. Now if you see, this wire is super straight, and that'll work out perfect for our grabber. Now what we want to do is take our wire and we're going to stretch it out so that it's 30 inches long. I'm going to put I don't know, about 1.5 inches into the vise, and then I'm going to grab it about 1.5 inches from the back over here, and then I'm just going to stretch it out until we get to 30 inches. Now I'm going to clip off a good piece of my coil, and good meaning that all the coils are consistent and formed well. And then I'm going to reinsert my rod that I used. There we go. Then I'm going to clip a nice straight piece of the wire, and this is going to form my collar. A pair of vice grips works great for this. Now when you wrap this, you want to make sure you're doing it the same way that you did originally. And basically you're making a screw, and you'll see how it works when I install it. You just want to go neatly around the coils. Now I'll unscrew this. Snip it so that it's a clean looking barrel. There we go. Okay, now this is going to screw into my piece that wasn't stretched out all the way. I'll just screw it in. There we go. And then to make sure that it stays, I'm going to crimp it down just a little bit. And that way it doesn't want to unscrew. Okay, time to make the business end of this grabber. I'm going to take a piece of my straight wire and I'm just going to hammer it flat. There we go. So here's the tail end of my grabber, and then let's go down over here to the business end with my collar on it. I'm going to take my straight piece of wire and I'm going to feed it all the way through. And then this bent piece, I want it to bend just outside the collar. So I'll bend it right about there. Give it a 90 degree. There we go. And now when I pull on the wire at the other end, it makes a little grabbing motion there. Now the other end, I'm just going to leave about, I don't know, 8 inches. And then you'll want to make sure to bend this over so that it doesn't poke anyone in the eye. There we go. Okay, here's the completed grabber. You can see that I can adjust the wire to either probe or retract. And again, this whole thing is about 30 inches long. So here's a piece of pipe, and I cut a little hole in the upper corner here, and that is to simulate the entry point for the P-trap. Now what I'm going to do is drop an earring backing in there and then try to fish it out so you can see how this thing works. I don't want to mislead you that this is an easy thing to do, but it is possible. So here's my earring backing. Now I tried for about 15 minutes to get this thing out by myself, but the problem was whenever I would jostle the wire grabber, it would move the camera. And so I'd have to twist and turn the camera to get it back into position. Eventually I just grabbed my son and I asked him to turn the camera along with the grabber. Now at this point I can see I have the earring clasped and I'm maintaining tension on the grabber. I'm just waiting for my daughter to turn on the camera so that we can see what it looks like when I pull it out of the vent. By this time I had a small crowd gathered around the tub.
Greg, more. Yeah, come here. Greg, come here.
Woo!
You got it?
I got it.
Let me see.
I thought you were working.
How did you?
Delicious, Dad. Daddy.
Thank you, Grant.
Grant.
Delicious.
Now the post did get a little bent, but it wasn't anything I couldn't just bend back.